Mutations are what intrigue us about rare plants. They're unique and unlike anything we've ever seen before. Like when a species develops with different shaped leaves, we call it a morphological mutation. That's how we got the Monstera Sierrana. Likely a small leaf mutation occurred in the Deliciosa line of evolution, and the Sierrana genome split away and passed down its genetics over and over and over, permanently altering the leaf shape. It can happen gradually over many generations or all at once, in the same way that tails have been deleted in humans since parting from our common ancestor, leaving us only with the tailbone as evidence of this. These mutations are essential to evolution. In the aroid world, we chase foliage variegation, like on Gabriella plant's new Philodendron Rio. This plant is a mutant of a mutant, originally beginning with a Philodendron Brazil. A sport offshoot likely occurred on the Brazil, and this branch was cultivated in the 2000s by Shane's dad. What became of the mutated Brazil was the Philodendron Rio with the cream yellow striping. The newest version Shane released has even higher variegation, and you can see some of the morphological changes on the leaf where the variegation touches the edges. We'll see this later on in the video too. Another beautiful example of mutation in the foliage of a plant is the Anthurium Pterodactyl, a stunning hybrid which carries an aurea-like splashed variegation on the leaves. This plant is owned by our friend Jay, who actually purchased it from Fontanimal Plant House, who's a seller on Palmstreet, the sponsor of this week's video. If you want a beautiful variegated Anthurium like this, or other beautifully mutated plants, check out their reasonable prices over on Palmstreet. Live sales are a fun way to snag your dream plant and see the roots and variegation of the exact specimen for sale. And if you aren't around to catch a live sale, they have a purge function which lets you shop by videos, which is pretty cool. Or just a classic marketplace to buy the exact plant you want any time of the day. Use my code below for new users to get $15 off your first purchase, free shipping on 3 orders, and a 10% off coupon. Thank you to Palmstreet for sponsoring this video. Now, the Thai Constellation is a classic example of a plant that easily alters its genetics. It has what we call low genetic fidelity. Given it was found to be naturally mutated off the road in Thailand somewhere, and then was brought into tissue culture to replicate that plant. Once in tissue culture, lots has changed. Everything from leaf colors, leaf shape, new patented mini Tycons, high susceptibility to fusarium and root rot, you name it. Again, lots we can see about this plant, and lots we cannot has changed. Leaf variegation mutation of the Tycon are abundant. Creme Brulee, Legacy, Electrolight, tricolor Tycons, and even low variegation Tycons, of course. Morphological changes too, like the Fishbone, which I kinda love the flame-like leaf shape. And even the Platinum, which shows both mutations, leaf shape and color. These mutations can become serious when they have both the variegation mutation and the leaf shape mutation at the same time, like on the Medusa Thai constellation. The leaves curl up at the sides and contort themselves. Some of these cultivars are even called tattoo, as they show a dark green patchwork on the bottom sides of the leaves, resembling tattoos. This also occurs on the white lava Monstera, which in extreme cases seems to struggle to survive and produce new, normally shaped leaves. It's not the genetics we would look for when producing food crops. Monstera Contorta, a Deliciosa mutant, also shows both mutation, just like the Devil Monstera, which again seems to have almost too much mutation to be a practical $30,000 plant to buy. Now, these names many people will have problems with, and I get that, but they are simply a quick way to identify these true to type plants which will pass on their genetic mutation in their sexual or asexual propagations. The Thai constellation mutations mostly occur through asexual propagations in tissue culture and can be from overexposure to plant growth regulators, among many other things. PGRs such as 2,4-D, which is often used in weed killers, is one of the ingredients in some tissue culture recipes. Many of these plants remain in strong mixtures of hormones as they're propagated, leading to mutation, such as in this Philodendron Billietae, which is showing a type of blister variegation as well as leaf morphology changes. There's a point at which these mutations limit the plant from photosynthesizing, and they can become fatal, like what looks to be occurring on this Paraiso Verde Albo. It just doesn't look that healthy. And you can see this Billy was overexposed to BAP, the shooting hormone used in tissue culture, and is overly bushy with tiny leaves. I've accidentally experienced this with Philodendron Joepii that I left in the agar bags I got from Asia, containing an unknown cocktail of PGRs, which began showing signs of variegation at about 1% across the population. This Orange Congo mutation shows an inner blobbing of variegation similar to the white lava, semi-contorting the leaves, and you can see where the variegation begins to transform the edge of the leaf. Epi White Dagger strikes a beautiful balance of leaf mutation and leaf variegation. It carries a flame-like leaf shape and a bright marbled variegation pattern. Similarly, this Philodendron Birkin, a heavily tissue culture plant, also has a beautiful balance of mutation, still having the original streaks of white, but with some lime green patching and marbling of aurea coloring. The Spath Galaxy is another mutation with a well-balanced color set, as well as capable of producing leaves which unfurl and capture light normally. But if you've seen one of these variegated spath in person, you'll see a bit of a bumping along the leaf, which is a result of the mutation from the coloring, and it changes the leaf shape and leaf texture from the normal green version of the peace lily. These mutations don't always pass on to the next generation, and they don't always affect the same species in the same way. Though they are beautiful, many times they can go back to the original genetic set in a process called reversion. Though it's a slower process, these sports can also occur in seed production, such as the variegated Spiritus Sancti by Dom at Red Leaf Exotics. I know there's been some controversy about his past, but this is simply a good example of genetic mutation that can occur in sexual propagation. The naturally occurring mutations are in large a random, challenging to understand phenomenon, but often plants are also induced to mutate using a variety of man-made technology. For instance, there are methods such as the gamma greenhouse in Malaysia, which subjects plants and seeds to radiation to induce mutations. Then there's X-ray radiation, where plants are irradiated with medical tools, and also space radiation, where seeds are sent out into space in the hopes that they'll mutate with beneficial traits when they're exposed to cosmic radiation as they enter and exit the atmosphere. But we'll have to wait until next week to explore those. Thank you for watching this week's video. We truly appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next week. Have a great day.